Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. This is about as close as we've been to a new portable PlayStation device like the PSP or the PS Vita in a long time, but unfortunately it's not a standalone device. This is the brand new Backbone PlayStation Edition controller for the iPhone, and it is officially licensed from PlayStation. And when it comes down to it, the PlayStation version of the Backbone is basically the same as the original. I've got the original here. I've been using it for about a year with my iPhone, and personally I do think it's the best telescopic controller for an iPhone that's ever been released. And I know there's a lot of my viewers that use Android, so the one that I would recommend is the new Razer Kishi version 2. I've done a full review on this. I personally really like it, and they did team up with Backbone to create this. As you can see, it's very reminiscent of the Backbone controller. And by the way, this connects to your Android device over USB Type-C, so you'll have zero input latency. But in this video, we're talking about the new PlayStation version of the Backbone. And really, they're pushing hard for remote play on the PS4 or the PS5, but this will work with any game that supports a controller on the iPhone. It'll work with STema Link, it also works with Game Pass. And it does fully support the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro with this adapter. So it's just kind of a little rubber adapter. We will take a look at it. It just allows that controller to hold the larger phone much better. So if you're not familiar with the Backbone controller, this connects over your Lightning port. So again, zero latency. We're not connecting over Bluetooth. And I really do love the look of the PlayStation version. I'm a huge PlayStation fan. I've got the PS5 running with remote play setup, so we're definitely going to be testing it out. And if we take a look at the back here, a little bit of PlayStation branding. And this does add a little extra functionality to the phone. Since this is connected over your Lightning port, we do have a 3.5mm headphone jack on this unit. And if we take a look at the buttons, you can see we've got that cross, circle, square, and triangle, just like the PlayStation controller. Now, unfortunately, the sticks are laid out like an Xbox controller, and I've seen some people complaining about this, but I'm actually used to using analog sticks in this orientation, so it doesn't bug me that much. I will say that the analog sticks themselves are more akin to the Switch analog sticks, so they're much smaller than you'd see on an original PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 controller, or even an Xbox controller. So if you don't like the Switch analog sticks, chances are you're probably not going to like these either. There is a Lightning port on the controller itself, so you can charge up your phone while you're playing, and like I mentioned, we do have a headphone jack, so it makes it really easy to plug in your favorite headphones to this controller and use them with your iPhone. Up top here, we've got our shoulder buttons, and it does have analog trigger. So if you love playing racing games and you need that analog input for your gas and brake, this definitely has you covered. And here's a quick comparison between the original Backbone and the PlayStation Edition. Basically, the only thing that's changed here is the color scheme and the branding. For the testing you'll see in this video, I'm going to be using an iPhone 13 Pro. And like I mentioned, it does come with an adapter to hold these larger devices. And basically, it just slides right on here. And it works out really well for these larger iPhones. And really what we're doing here is just kind of creating a larger lip on the left-hand side to accommodate those extra cameras on the iPhone 13 Pro. As you can see here, it does raise it up a bit. And in order to get everything set up, all you need to do is extend the controller and plug this Lightning port right into your phone. So we'll go ahead and insert the phone. Make sure it's plugged in snugly. And once it's in here, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, you could definitely carry this around just like it sits. And we've got this dedicated Backbone button. And the first time you plug this in, you actually might be greeted with the Backbone app, or it might ask you to download the Backbone app from the App Store. It is optional because this will still work with games from Android and Remote Play and Steam Play. But I personally do like the launcher itself. You can navigate this whole thing with touch, or you can use the controller. It'll give you some recommended games. It'll also show you the games that you have installed up top here. I kind of like it. I mean, it just kind of unifies everything, puts it all in one place for me. And I've already got a lot of games and streaming apps installed on this iPhone that do natively support controllers, from Apple Arcade games to streaming apps like Game Pass, Remote Play, Steam Link. I think I got Stadia installed on here still, Apex Legends, and Genshin Impact. But the first thing I wanted to take a look at was remote play using my PlayStation 5. Now this will also work with the PS4. I've already got my PlayStation 5 set up with remote play in the house, and I would highly recommend plugging your PlayStation into Ethernet if you're in the house. Obviously, the phone itself that we're going to be streaming to is going to be on Wi-Fi because it's a wireless device. But having your PlayStation, be it a PS4 or a PS5 on a wired connection in the house, will give you a much better experience. That way, we're only working with one of these devices over wireless. But yeah, here it is. We're using remote play to this device here from my PS5 in the house, and basically I've now got a portable PS5. This is going to function just like your PlayStation would, but we've got a mobile screen here and a mobile controller. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff installed on the PS5 right now, but I actually wanted to test out some Gran Turismo 7 here. We'll just get right into it, and I'll get into an easier race just so we can take a look at everything in action. Alright, so here we are in a super simple Sunday Cup, and right out of the box with Gran Turismo, your gas is going to be your cross button, brake is going to be your square button. But I've actually set it up for my analog triggers. I do this with the original PlayStation 5 controller also, but this is a great way to show you that these triggers are analog, otherwise known as linear triggers. So if we just give it a little bit of input, it's going to give us a little input in the game, so we can go with the gas here, or we can slam it all the way down to floor it. And this really does help out with racing games, be it something from the App Store like Real Racing 3, Asphalt 9, or while you're streaming from your PlayStation or using xCloud, Stadia, or even Steam Link. But yeah, overall, with a decent connection, streaming from your PS4 or 5 works really well, especially in the house. I'm on the same network. My PS5 is plugged into Ethernet, so we've got a wired connection there, and the iPhone is on Wi-Fi. I've got a Wi-Fi 6 router in the house, so we've got a pretty quick connection. And this is something I do quite a bit before I go to bed at night. While my wife's watching her shows, I can actually stream my PS5 right to my phone. And I've been using that original Backbone controller. Same exact thing, we've just got a really nice PlayStation theme with the PlayStation version. And you might have noticed we do have a couple extra buttons on this controller. So here's our start button. This is already mapped for the PlayStation 5. And since I'm using Remote Play from the PS5, we've got our screenshot button right here. If we were like streaming from an Xbox, this would be our select button. It would be select for most other games. This also has a dedicated screen recorder button built in, so we can record our gameplay and it'll save to your camera roll. And finally, we've got the Backbone home button, which will bring us right back into the Backbone app. And like I said, you don't have to use this Backbone app, but it does make it really easy to navigate everything with the controller. So this works great with remote play and cloud gaming, but it also works really well with native iPhone games, like Genshin Impact. And the first time you start up a game, it'll give you a little hint. We do have to enable the controller from the settings in Genshin Impact. And I've already got this set up with the game, so we'll get right into a little bit of gameplay here. But yeah, I mean, on this iPhone 13 Pro, this game works really well. I'm at very high settings, 120 FPS. I really wish that Android would come along and allow us to up that frame rate and add controller support, because I personally do love playing this game with a controller, and the only way I can do it right now is using a third-party app on Android. Kind of a mapper app, but this does natively support controllers. And you don't need a controller like this to play these games. You can use an Xbox controller, a PS4, or a PS5 controller connected over Bluetooth. They do work with the iPhone and iPad. Another one I've been playing a lot on mobile is Apex Legends, and with a controller, does make it a totally different game. I mean, this is definitely on par with the console version, in my opinion. And if you're not used to using a controller, if you've kind of just grown up with a touch screen, then you might not even need it. I mean, you're probably better than I am at this game on touch screen. But I love having that physical connection of a controller, and I try to use this with as many games as possible. So I know it's a PlayStation branded controller, but this also works with other cloud gaming apps like Game Pass, Stadia, GeForce Now. I'm a huge fan of Game Pass, or game streaming, used to be called xCloud. We'll get into some Forza Horizon 5 real quick. And again, with these racing games, having the analog triggers is absolutely amazing. And the final thing I wanted to show off here was some Steam streaming using Steam Link. Now you could always use Moonlight if you want to, but I really do have a good time with Steam Link, at least in the house. I've personally had much better luck with Steam Link over Moonlight, but it might be different for you. And one big complaint I get about the iPhone or the iPad or iOS in general is the lack of emulation from the App Store, and I completely understand. You can jailbreak your device or run background hacks to run some emulators, but what I wanted to show off was a little bit of Gamecube emulation streaming from my PC using Steam Link on the iPhone with this controller. I'm using the Dolphin emulator here, and this is running from my PC. We're just streaming it right here. I'm at 1080p using the Vulkan backend. We've got Soul Calibur 2, and it does work pretty decently as long as you have a good router in the house. Now, it would be nice if we could go ahead and just download this directly from the App Store and install everything, but unfortunately with iOS the way it is right now, it's just not possible. But overall, I do enjoy using the Backbone controller with my iPhone, and having this PlayStation branded version is just icing on the cake. And this is going to kind of have to hold me over until PlayStation releases another handheld like the PSP or the Vita. But I'm totally fine with it right now. Being able to play my PS5 games on the iPhone using this controller is still pretty cool. And if you're an iPhone gamer, this is something that I can highly recommend. If you're not into the PlayStation version, you can always go with the original. But if you're an Android gamer and you're not into iPhone at all, I would recommend checking out the Razer Kishi V2. I've done a full review on it. I'll leave a link for that in the description. And if you're interested in picking up any of these, links will be down below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.